Social Talk podcast. Thanks, guys, for listening to season 3. Again, this is Leroy, Mill's Realty Managing Broker. Today we have on our podcast, we're talking everything insurance. So today we have Mr. Herbert Witter from Insurance Broker, and he will tell us everything about insurance, what you need to know, what you should know, what you ought to know, what they never told you. So, Herb, let's talk about you. Let's first introduce yourself. Let folks know who you are.
Okay, my name is Herbert Witter. I've been in the insurance business since 1987. All areas, started with life insurance, then became a stockbroker, then became a property casualty broker back in '92, and that's where I found my calling.
Well, I've known Herbert since 1987, I think, 88, for many years, and so we've done a lot of stuff together. So I wanted to bring you, as you know, we bring people who have the experience, the best, who have the knowledge, and for most of you guys who follow us know that we always bring information that are pertinent to today and pertinent to what you need to know in order to get quality insurance. So Herb is an insurance broker, and we're at, what's your address, Herb?
7547 North Rogers.
And phone number?
We also have an office on 95th Street.
You have another office on 95th Street?
Yes, and one in Florida as well, but we'll leave that out.
Okay, so
phone number is 773-338-2886.
So we're in Rogers Park. For those of you guys who are in the Chicagoland area, and we're also on the south side. On 95th and?
319 East 95th. 95th and King Drive.
95th and King Drive. So there's 2 offices. So hey guys, I want to say, we always ask you to support the people that we bring to the table, because we only bring you quality people. We only bring you people that we know that will do good service for you. So again, we ask you to support, follow us, please share this video, and keep listening to the podcast. So, Herb, as we get into it, we want to talk a little bit about insurance. And I know me and you have done a lot of stuff together, but I wanted to talk about, first of all, I'm a broker, real estate broker. You're an insurance guy. Let's talk about home insurance. Tell me basically why, because and we want to talk about home, condo, apartment buildings. Just kind of give me an idea. Why is it important to have insurance? First of all, what's the purpose of insurance? I mean, we know what the purpose is, but some people don't want to have it. Why should you have it?
Well, of course, the main reason is, unfortunately, accidents, fires, problems arise, burglary, theft, and if you're so unfortunate that should happen to you, then either you're going to beg, borrow, or call your insurance agent. The best way, of course, is to call your insurance agent. So insurance basically try to make you whole. It will replace your contents. It will pay for damages in case someone sue you, and it'll rebuild your home in case there's a total loss.
So those are some of the, and that was my next question. What are the elements of actually a home insurance? Let's start with the states at the time. What are the elements? I want to get into a little bit more detail of, when I say detail, a little bit more things that people maybe don't know. What do you think that people don't know that insurance, a home insurance, can cover you? Because a lot of us have a policy and we figure, okay, if it's fire. Is there anything inside that policy that people will think, whether it's jewelry, whether it's car theft, what are some of those little things that we don't know?
Right. I think one of the important things that people forgot is, in case you're robbed while you're on vacation, in case your car got broken into.
Okay.
That's what your renters or your condo or your home insurance cover.
I want you to come back to that. So I don't want to pass this. In case you're robbed on vacation, your home insurance covers you?
Right, robbed on vacation, robbed on the streets. It covers all your personal belongings. So including cash. Now they limit the amount of cash you're covered.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. We bring you the best people. So that, and I didn't want to pass that up because I don't think that's not something that's put out there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That in case you rob, in case you rob, you just rob and you move on to the police. But I didn't know your insurance covered you.
Yes.
Now, when you say a limit because of maybe what you make or
No. Again, you have two main types of policies. You have one that covers you for everything. We call it HO3. Then you have another type that covers you in a more limited way. But the best type, the HO3s, does cover burglary, theft, and again, doesn't matter where that occurs. You can increase the amount of coverage you have, but in general, you at the very minimum have $1,000.
okay.
For cash. It covers things. For example, your gun. If they steal your gun from you, if again your car is broken into, your laptop is there, your cell phones, your renters, your condo, your homeowners insurance pay for that.
So
Subject to your deductible, of course.
So the HO3, and you mentioned that's for the stuff inside your unit, or just coverage in general.
Okay, again, I don't want to confuse it with all these HOs and so
Right,
on.
but
Right.
you mentioned about HO3, so
Right.
I want to be specific so our listeners can know, okay, HO3 covers.
Right, and maybe I should have mentioned HO3, because HO3 specifically to where you have a dwelling.
Okay, all right.
If it's a condo, they call it HO6. If it's a renter, they call it HO4. But but the dwelling, the single family, the 2-flat, the 3-flat, you either have
That's
HO3 or
right.
HO8.
See, that clears it all up. Because I was going to ask you about the HO6, because some of us have condos and that kind of stuff. So that covers, and that's particular. I mean, that's really good information to know. What you just brought to the table. Now, dealing with the home, is there anything else you can think about that the a dwelling, a coverage would happen that maybe we don't know? I know you mentioned the robbery, which I didn't know. Is there any one other thing that you can say, maybe you guys didn't know that?
You have guests over and there's an altercation, and somehow you get involved, you get sued. Again, your homeowner's policy usually covers that. It's an optional coverage, but we always recommend it, known as personal injury. So again, I've been doing this a long time, and you'll be surprised some of the things people sue their best friends and their relatives for. So again, you invite someone over. It could be as simple, they fell down the stairs. Well, hey, your homeowner's policy will cover that. Dog bites is one of the most frequent claims now.
Really?
Yes, for liability, and that's why if you try to get homeowners insurance, recently they asked, do you have a dog? And then some dogs, they're like, no.
That's an important thing, because
Yes.
I know when it comes to renters, some owners don't want to cover you if you have like a Rottweiler or a pit bull or I think there was 3 or 4 or 5 dogs that they will not cover.
Yeah. Usually the bigger dogs.
Is there a weight limit?
Not necessarily a weight limit, because but dogs that go big, the Rottweilers, the Dobermans, and again, nobody think they have a vicious dog. Right. But you'd be surprised. A lot of the claims are from tiny little dogs.
Really?
Right. Yeah, they're friendly until they're not so friendly. but again, your homeowner's policy usually covers that, although some companies now require you to pay for that extra.
Okay.
So, you always have to, if you have a pet, let your agent know, hey, I do have a pet. They'll ask you, have it bitten anyone? If it hasn't bitten anyone, you're normally fine. If it doesn't, if it bites someone before, then, some companies will cover you some. So again,
Okay.
what's important?
That's good to know. That's good to know. I mean, because you don't really, this is not a conversation you normally hear. Hey, your dog will cover it. So, all right, so fabulous. I mean, I really appreciate that because I'm sure some of our listeners, you can comment on this if you're listening to this podcast. I know that there's a lot to cover when it comes to insurance. What about like a multi-unit? Like for me, you sell a multi-unit, and is there anything in that multi-unit that you can say, like flood or whatever that is? What you say like most important? Like maybe building costs, or tell me a little bit about multi-unit coverage and why you think it's important. Because you have a tenant upstairs too. How does that play into that whole insurance thing?
Okay. With multi-units, again, the two main coverages you look for is the building, how much coverage you have on the building. The other thing that's important is liability. You want to make sure you have lots of liability. Minimum $500,000. We recommend $1 million or more. Now, it's also good to advise your tenants. A lot of tenants don't know this. If there's a major loss, there's a fire, your policy, the landlord's policy won't cover their contents. So it's important that they get renter's insurance. Renter's insurance is what covers their personal belongings. Yeah. So again, but the liability is important. You'll be surprised the things people claim for. We just had a claim about 2-3 years ago where this young man had a visitor and they had an altercation. Well, that's his visitor. And the visitor unfortunately killed him. And
Visitor killed him.
his visitor killed him. His good friend, killed him. But 2-3 months later, we got a claim that hey, it was a long story, but to make it simple, the insurance company did pay his parents to get him buried at the very minimum. But again, if that landlord didn't have insurance, then you would have to pay for court costs. You'd have to pay for all these things. So sometimes, whether it's your fault or not, people unfortunately do sue their landlords, or a guest of the tenant sue the landlord, and that's where insurance a lot of times.
Hey guys, so for those of you who are listening, you see how great insurance need to have. Everyone needs to have. Even if you're a tenant, you probably want to get insurance just in case there's a fire in the building. At least because I had a good friend of mine who actually went ahead and I think and I wanted to mention this for tenants. I had a friend of mine who had gotten a fire, and the insurance company had put them in a hotel for a while. What kind of coverage is that?
Well, okay. Whenever you have homeowners and renters and condo, there are three main. Well, they're like 5 main coverages. One, it covers for home and condo, it covers the dwelling, the building, the structure. Renters, of course, own the structure, so you cover that. But everything covers the personal property, and you can choose how much coverage you want. Then it covers what they call loss of use.
Okay.
So, in case there's a major, the disaster, then it'll pay for your expenses, while you live somewhere else. And usually that may be 20% of whatever the personal property value is, but it can be more.
Okay.
So, it'll either help you to rent somewhere, or as you mentioned, you can live in a hotel. I did have one guy who lived 1 year.
What?
1 year downtown. His loss of use was over $48,000. Now, why he did that, we were both surprised. But he had the coverage, so he did that.
He did.
He did that. And of course, then there's liability, because You as a tenant, a common one is you a leaking pipe. You left the pipe. It's the same thing with condos. You forgot the pipe, or you have a leaking pipe and it damaged somebody downstairs.
Right.
Again, your renters or your condo policy would
Cover that.
And again, you have a party, you have a guest. I did have one lady was sued by her mother-in-law. True story.
I heard the mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law claims she slipped and fell. Of course, they didn't talk. I don't know if they're talking now, but it happens. And again, so again, whether it's true or not, if someone have a claim against you, you call your insurance company and they'll take it from there.
But you also have I was going to say catastrophic fire for the homeowners that are listening. How would you advise them to purchase policy if they have a fire? Like if you gotta build back something or a massive disaster happened. How does that work when you say, you know what, my home, the half of it burned down? Is there like a specific policy, or just regular coverage does that, or just your
Right.
or do you, the agent, estimate what that would cost?
Okay. Now all homeowners policies cover fire and vandalism. Every one of them does. Okay. Now it's just a matter of how much coverage do you get. One type of policy is based on what we call your cash value, the value of the building.
Okay.
Another type is based on what you just mentioned. How much does it actually cost to replace the building? The replacement policies are usually better.
Okay.
However, if the building is very old, originally built, 100 years or more, some companies won't give you the replacement. Just so you know. So then you're stuck with the other type, the cash value type of policy. Or if there's a case where you've had, 2 or 3 claims in the last 5 years, some companies won't cover it. One important thing to note, when it comes to homeowners insurance, don't make small claims.
Very important.
Yeah. If you have one claim for $100,000, you're in a better position than someone who have 2 claims for $1,000, because now that person has 2 claims.
Okay, so and
the claim frequency is very important.
Yeah. I was talking to someone today, and there was a little leak coming down, and he was asking me if I should claim it. And just today we were talking about that, and I said, you probably don't want to do that because I know that you want to spend $500 for a claim just to do a wall. I mean, it costs. I'm assuming it costs you longer. It costs you more money in the longer run, correct? Yeah. Because I think that would up your insurance next year.
It may or may not, but the thing is now you have one claim. So now you have many companies restricted to like 2 claims over a 5-year period.
Okay, 2 claims over 5 years.
Right, and then some do 3. But again, once you start having 2 claims, then within a 5-year period, actually some companies do a 7-year period. Then your rates are either very high, or some of the better companies won't take you.
Okay, so you got to go to BC company.
Right, and again, if you have a $400,000 claim, you're better off than someone who has 2 $400 claim, because you have 1 claim, which is what the main thing for insurance. Hey, this is a disaster. You're just penalized for 1 claim.
Okay.
Versus someone who have 2
small claims.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to go back to the HO6, the policies from the interior policy. That's something that crossed my mind. How does the insurance company determine what's in your home? I mean, how do they say like, okay, well, can you? You're qualified for $50,000 of insurance policy. How do they determine? All right, well, I'll pay you $25,000 because that's what you have.
Yeah. Okay, very important question. Most of the better companies, they basically trust what you say, believe it or not. Okay. So if you cover your place for $50,000, as an example, your personal property, your furniture. By personal property, we mean your furniture, your clothing.
Right.
Okay.
Jewelry.
Jewelry, they limit jewelry, but you can always have extras. So jewelry is normally limited to $1,000. So does furs and guns. You're limited to 1,000, but you can buy more.
But what if you have expensive stuff in your house, and the fact that all that got burned up, like, for example, a Gucci bag or something, or whatever bag you get.
Again, the more documentation you have that you own this, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a receipt. It could be a picture, it could be a video. We normally recommend that you video your things, but it's very rare that people actually do that.
That's true.
But most companies, most of the good companies, if you said you have one, they're gonna believe you have one. So it's not like, hey, you really have to prove that you had a Gucci bag.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, unfortunately, because it's fairly easy to make a claim, you do have a percentage of fraud in the industry.
Of course.
But it's because of that. The companies tend to believe what you say, and again, I've been doing this a long time. We have had weird cases. One guy just called me 2 weeks ago. They broke into his car. He was taking his fiancée, he was gonna get engaged to. The next day, he had a ring to get it cleaned. It does happen, but the insurance company, they believe him because that's what he says. All right, so but you do have people who take advantage of the situation. And
have you ever run into people that actually video and have a documentation? Because this is something that the viewers
right,
can
that's
think
what
about.
I'm saying.
Document your
right.
your.
It is rare, but again, if you have that, it makes a claim much quicker. But again, they'll ask you, hey, do you have any documentation? Well, I have this, I have that, but we've never had really a case where a client said, hey, I have $10,000 worth of furniture, and the company said, hey, you only have 5. So they usually will pay. Again, the adjuster, who is the main person, some of them are more friendly, more liberal. Some of them will, are like anywhere else. But in general, companies do pay if you tell them you had it.
Hey guys, if you, for those of you who are listening, it's very important. I just want to kind of, I just want for you to kind of give me anything else that you think that we need to know when it comes to insurance, when it comes to, Herb's been around for a lot of years, since 1987, and so I trust him with everything insurance. So I want you guys to support him. Call him. He's the insurance broker in Rogers Park. But is there anything else that you think that we need to know when it comes to homes and families and I'm going to ask you a question regarding home insurance. How do you think people should purchase insurance to cover their home in case they die?
Okay. Now, in reality, that's life insurance.
That's life.
Right.
Yeah, I know, but it's still
right.
based. Sometimes I think it's based on the home, right? Or
well, you can tie it to
your home,
to your mortgage balance, right? But again, life insurance is very important. It's the cheapest way to pass on wealth. If you want to leave $100,000 behind, there are three basic ways. You're either going to have $100,000 in the bank, you're going to have a property value a little bit more because after they take out taxes and all of that, or you can pay maybe $1,000 a year for a few years and you get $100,000 when you die. So life insurance is very important. It's the cheapest way to pass on wealth. Something a lot of people don't know. Sometimes you hear, important guy John Brown died and leave his university $10 million. 99% of the time, that's a life insurance policy. It's not that he left $10 million from the bank. So, you don't want to and you want to get it, when you're young, it's better, but you normally can get insurance now at any age. And it doesn't matter what type you get. There's term, there's universal life, there's whole life. Your agent normally will assist you to get the right policy for you at the time. No policy is better than the other. It's just, this is what's good for you depending on your budget, depending on your situation at the time.
All right, so we're almost out of time, but I want to cover one more topic, and it's for the investors, and we have a bunch of investors who listen to us. Talk a little about commercial policy and how that plays. We have a couple minutes of commercial policy and how that plays, and why should an investor choose the right commercial policy for a 10 years, 15, and 20, or whatever it is.
Again, you want to get, if possible, there are certain types of policies that are known as business owner policies. And as the name implies, they're really designed for business owners. And those are more comprehensive. They not only cover the building and liability, but they cover, again, loss of income. And they cover things that you probably won't even think of. I had a situation where this lady was in an altercation with a tenant. Now, most policies won't cover that, but if you have the right policy, they actually end up fighting. And she got sued and actually, lost the case. She should have been the tenant. But again, you have a good business owner policy. It will cover that. Personal injury will cover that. So again, you want to protect your assets. The best way to protect your assets is by getting insurance. The best way to protect your assets is by getting insurance.
And getting a good insurance agent. That's most important. Yeah. So for a business, are we talking about, okay, let's say for my business, I mean, as a broker, are we talking about that covers my, what is it? That's a little different than business. I'm a business owner, so is it a little bit different than
that just covering the building?
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, a business owner policy can cover the building, but not necessarily. You could be, a business owner where you're renting an office space. So again, it would then cover, your furniture, your clothing, and again, in case you get sued. So again,
the policy will cover that.
Right. And again, you have a major disaster, it'll pay for your expenses.
Okay, so that's something we got to look into. Hey guys, we got a minute left, so I want to thank you guys for listening to us. You can always go back and replay this issue if you're not sure. You can call Herbert. Where can they get a hold of you?
773-338-2886, or we're online, insurancebrokersinc.com.
All right, so you can go to insurancebrokersinc.com, connect with her. We ask you to support, and please let us know. Please follow us. Please share. Please let folks know that Mills Realty brings you the best of the best of the folks in the neighborhood, and we will always bring you great information. So thank you guys for listening, and I want you until next time, until the next episode, I'll see you again. Again, it's Leroy at Mills Realty. Go to Mill Social Talk Podcast wherever you listen to it. Thank you guys.